So as we just mentioned, the first thing that we're going to be taking a look at, or the first demonstration we're going to run you through, is just looking at how we can control tasks by running them in the background. So this means looking at the BG command for backgrounding tasks, FG command for bringing them back to the foreground, looking at ways that we can view those jobs with the jobs command, as well as looking at the ways we can send signals such as Control and Z, the suspend signal, through to our applications. So you can see then that I'm on my CentOS 7 device, the server one. I've connected via PuTTY as a standard user. If I want to start a job in the background, then I can start it as we've seen before. Let's go through and sleep 1000. So this is just going to really start the application sleep and run it for 1000 seconds. So that's really just going to be creating a pause for a little while. To start it in the background, I can then just have the ampersand at the end. If I use jobs now, we can see the jobs that I have running in the background. So that task was automatically started in the background. If I had forgotten though to put it in the background, and this of course isn't likely to be the sleep task, but think you might be compressing a big file, or you might be creating a backup and it's going to take a little while and you want your prompt back. So what we can go through and do is background the task. But you can see here that I didn't put the ampersand in. So of course it's running in the foreground and I don't get my prompt back. Oh, woe is woe. I can't do any more work for 1000 seconds. Unfortunately, some Brightspark has a great idea. We can use Control and Z, and then that suspends the application, so it's still using memory, but it's not taking CPU time at the moment. Again, if I go through and look at this with the jobs command, we can see then that this is the paused or stopped job, and it has the plus symbol next to it, which means that it has focus. So if I go BG, I don't need to go BG2, it will resume the job in the background. So now when we look at the jobs command, we can see that both jobs are running. Job 2 still has the focus. So if I used the FG command, it will bring that job to the foreground. Now remember, we looked at this before, but I can use STTY-A to show some of these keyboard shortcuts. And we can see that the Control Z is there, and that's then sending a suspend through to the application. I'm just going to clear this screen out. If I do use the foreground command, then we do bring that job to the foreground again. I can then start it in the background again by using Control Z and using the BG command. If I wanted to bring a different job to the foreground, then I can look at the job numbers, and of course I might have multiple jobs running, and then I can just go, let's say FG1, and that would bring 1 to the foreground. Again, Control and Z will suspend it, and I can continue it or resume it by using the BG command. 1 now has the plus next to it, so it has the focus. And all of these are going to run for 1000 seconds, so that's just about 17 minutes or so. So I think we've got a little while before these are going to end up finishing themselves. Control and L can clear off the screen. If I open up another window, I'm just going to go up to my terminal here and go through then to duplicate the session, and I'm going to log in as Tux with the password. Now if I do the same thing here, where if I go through and sleep, and let's say sleep, we'll just go to 50, we don't need to sleep for too long, and then put the ampersand. It doesn't matter whether I put it directly after the 250 or if I have a space. It's recognized as a special character at the shell. If I look now, if I go PS-P on that process, so that's 13732, so we can see there's my sleep process, And if I go through and use, say, the minus capital F, so we get our full listing, we can see that the parent process ID is the shell that we're running in. So 1371. We can always go through and echo $$ to see that. Now, if I then exit out of my shell, I've still got the job running in the background. But we don't kill off that process when we exit out of the shell. We can see that sleep is still running. If I go through and use pgrep and sleep, we can see then that I've got the 3 sleep processes running, where if I look at my jobs command, there's only 2 running in my shell. If I want to see more details of this, remember, if I use ps minus capital F and then minus P, and we want to then go through and look at the output of pgrep and then sleep. So you can see I've got those 3 processes, but when we look at the parent process ID for the last process, we can see then that that's been handed over to be nurtured by systemd. In other shells, you might have to force that behavior and start the process with no hup, but it's the default behavior within a bash shell. Now, we can look at the user ID who owns these processes, and even though it was started in a different shell, Tux owns all of these processes, so I can easily go through now and issue the command p kill sleep, and of course that's then going to kill off all of those sleep processes. I'm only getting the 2 that show as terminated because that's coming back from my shell. I don't see the information coming back from the other shell. But if we now go through and run the pgrep and sleep, we can see there are no sleep processes running on the system. I've just chosen sleep here because it's an easy way that I can have a long running process. So that's the only reason for choosing sleep, nothing other than that. Well, we can continue using a little bit of sleep time by taking a look now at our process priorities.